Hey everyone, Spectre Senence here, the first Spectre, and I'm going to bring you another Mind of the Spectre. So basically what we got coming on here is some interesting things. I'm going to show you what, I'm trying to get a little bit of a format for this clip. We are looking at some aspects of things that we're trying to work with in partnership. So without further ado, I'll kind of show you what's happening in the Mind of the Spectre. Well, down the road coming up, our community over at Crossroad Games, which basically all the Spectres pretty much play with, already preparing for the Standish standoff. So that means table building and terrain making and upcoming. So kind of with work, Hippie kind of helped get these all put together. So now they're in my hands. I'll try to give them a little bit. Got a little bit of paint started on these terrain pieces, going with some of the stonework pretty well on this. Try to get to it. Working on basically making the metal rusted bronze is the idea behind that. So I've got a little bit of that working on. See some of it, not so well on this one. So these are the Warhammer fantasy things, and here's the other piece to that kit. Looking right here. So I haven't quite got the bronze on this yet. So that's the kind of like the bluish I have going on, so it looks like the aging effect, the oxidation that goes on. And then got some of the skull work going on. I'm going to do a little more highlighting of that. So a lot of the base stuff going with that we have working. Unfortunately, the Harlequins haven't made much progress. I had a little bit of other work on the Tyranids, getting them back going. So I really want to make the Harlequins look good. So they're still in works. And then we've kind of seen Amberclad on the battle reports, but he's letting go his Imperial Guard, so kind of crazy that. So I just picked up his Valkyrie. He does a great job painting. It's really going to be tough to do over this, but my Imperial Navy is in white. You've probably seen a couple of them. I at least have the Vendetta and a Vulture gunship. Those were part of some of Spectre Studios bat reps. So we're gonna unfortunately have to repaint over what Amberclad has done, which is too bad, but it is part of it, and we may be in works of seeing a couple more pieces because this is the day of the flyers. So until the other stuff comes out, which we're going to lead into the next segment that I want to talk about, we're adding into the Bull, and we'll talk about some stuff there. Okay, in the Bull segment for Mind of the Spectre, if you have been watching me on the forum, kind of the reading, I told you I would do a video blog of the new thing that I just picked up. Finally delivered after some time, Imperial Armour Aeronautica. So this will be a pretty lengthy segment. This is going to do a two-part thing for me, where I really kind of want to give you an opportunity to see what we have here. Plus, I kind of want to see how lengthy I can kind of push this on YouTube. I've been doing a number of videos. I want to see if I can do an expanded one to do at least a half-hour segment with Mind of the Spectre. So we'll see what we can pull off here. One of the biggest things for those that are Forge Rule followers of Imperial Armour, such as myself, the additional rules that were in part of some of the other PDF files that you saw on the download site have changed. Flare and chafe launchers are different. Armored cockpit is different. Infrared targeting, distinctive paint scheme, that's basically the same. Illume flares were added. These are different now than what you had from the other Imperial Armour segments. So really want to check out. One of the biggest thing is like flare and chafe launchers, which kind of neutralize the immobilization thing, which is not such a big deal to do because the way the flyers are working now. It got changed to it's a 4+ invulnerable save versus missiles that fire at them. And this is a big key for this edition here, for this book, because there are a lot of things now that have missiles that have heat seeker, which is a rule that these are some added rules I'll talk a little bit later. But there's now Skyfire, these missiles that are coming out. We've all seen in the basic rule book that there are flak missiles that are coming. We don't know who can get them just yet, but they are anti-aircraft Skyfire able to fire at your ballistic skill to hit these flyers. So this now gives you and vulnerable save to protect some of these flyers that are coming out, especially out of the Forge World. So a big change in some of the things. Couple of special rules. There's some simple things like air to air, which is pretty self-explanatory. Repair was giving to some of the flyers, meaning they can fix the lock speed from being immobilized on. So that's a pretty cool aspect of that. Heat Seeker, the one I just talked about, rerolls, fail rerolls to hit. So this is where with missiles that will have a little bit of opportunity for that. A little modern warfare going into some of the fighting. Auto targeting is a big one. It ignores the cover save, the jink that these flyers can get too. So a couple of ways to take out the flyers have been kind of ruling your table early on in the 6th edition. So those are kind of nice things. One last part that is kind of new for defensive aspect is agile, which for certain vehicles that will have the jink, that puts them to a 4+. Big segment right off the bat will be the Imperial Navy, showing off right now the Thunderfighter. These are the ones that, by the listings are rate usable by the Imperium. So, Thunderbolt fighter, old school plane in there, the Lightning's in here, the Aquila Lander, the Vulture gunship, the Sky Talon, the Marauder ships. They're pretty much there. The new Avenger Strike Fighter was placed in this. A lot of this stuff is very similar to the stuff that you probably had in your codex. I kind of looked this up. There are some difference in the special rules, of course. That's pretty much where most of your terminology has changed in a lot of these vehicles. The points look like they were all the same from what I gathered right off the bat on a lot of these things here. Payload as well. You're not going to get any models that you're like, oh my god, I got to kind of change a lot of this aspect there. Those did not happen with anything that I saw from any of these models here from that aspect there. And for those that want to follow on Spectre Studios, I will try to do a bat rep. I have a Lightning, I have a Vulture gunship, so I'll try to get some of those bat reps for those type of planes and go from there. Straight Imperial Guard, big thing, which will now be, this is kind of why I wanted to do this video, was a couple of our community, some of them are against Imperial Armor. They think it's they're just too awesome, but in the same regard, they're priced to what they do. They're effective. I think they've just been more well thought out at some of the codex stuff that you get. The Mana Core is in this book, which means that the missiles that are on the Mana Core can be given Skyfire capability. So this is where I said the missiles. You're going to add that vehicle can now change up. It's pretty much the same model. You don't really need to go out and get a new Forge World model to it. It's basically the tank that you get at any standard retail shop that sells Games Workshop stuff, and be able to grab this vehicle and put it out there, and it's going to do the job to help you kill those tanks. A couple other things are pretty much in there. The Praetor Armored Assault Launcher, one of the big baddies out of the other codex, it now has also its missile payload can change, and some of the other stuff that was kind of in here is pretty simplistic. The Storm Eagle gunship is basically in here because they put for the Space Marines. That's there. The Cassius Assault Ram, you've heard of those. Big thing is, yeah, the Whirlwind's in here, boys. That lost tank. No one seemed to want to use it. Yeah, Whirlwind's back in here. You can now take that outfitted with the missile launchers to take out flyers, much like I said before. If you've ever gotten a Orlando to Helios, that's in there. It can change its missile payload as well. Pretty much in here. I'm not going to go over the Thunderhawk gunships. But really expensive right now, not to mention almost impossible to field 1,000 points. It's a pretty darn big game. You're not going to see much of that. There's a Lance Superior Tempest. One other thing I'll put in for Space Marines, those that have looked at the Contemplator, it was kind of odd to find this guy in here, right here, the Contemplator. But apparently if you outfit him, this one, with like the twin link assault cannons, I guess, auto cannons, he can actually, if he doesn't move with what he's got, his targeting relay, he can shoot flyers, he'll get Skyfire. So that's pretty cool. Orcs are pretty much the standard old stuff that you remember. They did add a couple things like a flak truck, a flak battle fortress, flak track, whatever orc stuff with basically twin linked auto cannons, back shooting in the sky. A lot of the other stuff basically was just renaming this. Phoenix bombers for the Eldar, the Nightwing Interceptor, all the Eldar vehicles that you remember before are in there. Pretty much the same terminology. They got changed. Some of them got added in. For the Eldar though, this Firestorm, I don't really remember seeing this baby, but it's got a good way of possibly taking out give the Skyfire, taking things out. Tyranids, just the Harridans in there, and he didn't look anything different from the rules that I changed out of that. Tau, yeah, you're the Barracuda's here, the Tiger Shark, the big orcas are in here, the Manta, yeah, the big Manta. Woo-hoo. So all in here. This thing is crazy. 10 structure points. If you look at the back, the little structure point means 3 hull points. That's 30 hull points this bad boy has. About 2,000 points, so you're basically taking on a whole darn army. So real fun with some of that stuff like that. Gauss Pylon for Necrons, that got rechanged. So that's all pretty good with that. Make sure I get that a little blip. So the Gauss Pylon from Necrons got in there. Nothing else has been added for them. So a lot of armies kind of got one stuff. Dark Eldar got the Raven Strike Fighter. Chaos got the Hellblade that's been around, and Helltalion, they're pretty much there. That got added. That the Blight Drone and Nurgle is also for Chaos. A couple of items in that, and that's pretty much the Imperial Aeronautica. There is a nice little cool campaign. This is something that, as flyers, are getting really, really cool. Really got an awesome job. Thumbs up, Forgeworld guys. You're doing some pretty good stuff. There are missions in here that add just straight up fighters that you can really just have like air battles, a little bit of a dogfighting. But the cool thing, if you remember from 5th edition, there was a veteran rule grouping. They've got a little bit of optional rules for pilots and stuff like that. So you can, if he lives, you can kind of move on, stuff like that. Kind of becoming an ace pilot, which they gain some aerial mastery skills and stuff that add some little extra stuff. And I play a lot. I've always liked the World War II stories with fighter pilots and stuff like that. I play like Ace Combat and stuff, and that also makes this book very, very cool. Just really allowing you to kind of build a campaign and having, one of your fighter pilots and the Avenger Strike Fighter coming around, out of 2 or 3 of them, whatever. He's the one guy that keeps living and building up his skill to become deadly. And it really goes back to one of the old rules, like the distinct pain, like that helps morale boost for any unit that misses, fails morale, and sees that plane up there. They'll liable to stick around. Apocalypse rules and the appendix all got updated. They put the PDF for that in, but this book actually has it all now for you in a copy. Going over the gargantuan creatures and what's new in the super epic flyers and how all that stuff works. So, what does that mean for you people out here? Basically, a lot of the Marine players, and I know my buddy Spectre Foreman, who's been playing with the Blood Angels, is like, what am I going to do? He's really got to feel like he's been forcing with the Storm Raven to kind of play into action. Well, this kind of gets that lost whirlwind model. You got something that can now Marines can field on the table. So with adding Imperial Armour, that really will help deal with a lot of certain armies that have a lot of this great capacity. I mean, Necrons, Imperial Guard, they're already 2 tough armies in this edition, and with the addition of flyers, that's pretty badass going on with that. This is going to lead to one other part of the segment I want to really talk on.